All right, y'all. There's a whole lot of talk about the Great Resignation, and one of the professions being hit the hardest is teaching. Teachers are quitting at alarming rates for a variety of reasons, which includes abandoning the classroom, burnout, lack of resources, low pay, and also, of course, all the back and forth when it comes to COVID. A new poll by the National Education Association, the country's largest teachers union, found 90% of teachers surveyed experienced burnout, and 55% plan to leave the profession sooner because of the pandemic. Joining me now from Charlotte, North Carolina is educator and author Dr. Tommy A. Watson. Dr. Watson, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, my brother?
Doing great. So, all right. So, how do we slow this down, stop it, reverse it? Because one of the things that I've heard perfect example. My brother taught, an executive chef, working in the school, decided to teach, and frankly was frustrated because he wanted to get paid based upon his worth. And they literally said, well, the system that is set up is really based upon seniority, and like essentially you work for a number of years and you get your money down the line when it comes to pension. This generation ain't rolling with that.
No, not at all. And it's a struggle right now. Roland, even prior to the pandemic, the education enterprise was struggling with getting educators into the system. And now as we look and go out and look at the education enterprise, we're seeing that more and more of our Black teachers in particular are leaving the enterprise. And what you see is being a teacher is very, very difficult because, teachers do a lot with lesson plans, grading. They're asked to do a lot. On top of that, you throw COVID in there. On top of that, as an African-American teacher that only African-American teachers makes up 7% of teaching enterprise. In those schools, typically African-American teachers have to be advocates for our Black kids because those are the kids who are being suspended more often than the other kids. Those are the kids who aren't getting access to the high-level classes. So those Black teachers have to become advocates for those Black kids in those schools, which means it causes some dissension between them and their colleagues. And what we're finding over and over again, for the reasons many of the Black professionals are leaving, is because many of them are also feeling isolated in those environments, Roland. So there are a lot of things that we have to do to counter that. And when it comes to retention in our schools, we have to start providing opportunities for more diversity and cultural training, and we can't simply leave it on the Black teachers. The Black teacher can't teach everyone in the district and in the building why it's important to love on Black kids just like you love on the white kids. Right. You also have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How do we fix it? How do we change it? I mean, how to make that adjustment?
Well, we have to, as a district. I mean, there's some districts that are doing this very well. The whole concept of cultural competence can't just simply be something that happens at the building level. It has to happen at the system level and be supported by everyone in the system. So, those districts that are doing it and doing it well, we're seeing that they are becoming more open to hiring more African Americans. They're going to the HBCUs and recruiting from those schools and seeing the value of having our Black teachers in the school. And when we're going to those HBCUs, it's not just about going there, picking up kids, to come be teachers, but creating a genuine relationship with those colleges as well. Advertising those colleges to not only your Black students in the district, but all students, all teachers should know about those things. And then, we have to also increase opportunities for more African Americans to be able to be in the pipeline of the education enterprise at the HR level, at the superintendent level, at the district curriculum level. So when hiring takes place, those folks are at the table, because one of the things we're seeing at the NFL right now, Roland, is that not enough African Americans are at the table when the hiring decisions are taking place. So we're losing out on a lot of talent because we don't have those African Americans at the table. And then, giving those teachers a chance, Roland, to see that there are opportunities beyond the classroom is going to be very, very important. Because again, like you just mentioned for your brother, teacher pay, unfortunately, is not very high. But as they evolve in the education enterprise, the pay increases tremendously. So that can be very, very inspiring and hopeful to a lot of the educators out there. And then also, you and I are both members of fraternities, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, shout out. Getting those folks in the school building.
That's cute little youth group.
We got to get those folks in the classroom. We got to get the alpha men in the classroom to support those educators out there who are struggling. Because again, Roland, many of them are feeling very, very isolated in the system and burned out.
Questions for panel. First up, Matt.
So my question, Dr. Watson, is we've seen teachers and education become extremely politicized during the pandemic, just in a way that I think is ruinous. But notwithstanding that, my question for you is, what have you seen unions do in response to that? How are unions supporting teachers and pushing back against a lot of that negative politicization that we see of the teaching profession right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I think at this point, I think many of them are still scrambling to try to figure it out. Because during the pandemic, we had the pandemic taking place, we had the social unrest taking place. So there's been a lot of scrambling taking place around the country. And I'm not sure that the districts and the unions have actually figured that out as of yet. Great question.
Kelly?
What do you think is going to be the next trend when it comes to teachers and education? Because what I'm seeing right now is a lot of pushback on, frankly, getting things taught that need to be taught, such as history, such as different ways of doing math. Common Core doesn't need to be the only one. And there's a reason why teachers are so burnt out. It's beyond just, the COVID-related issues. It's the overcrowding, it's the politics, it's the administration, it's so much. And frankly, I don't blame them. So what do you think is going to is the next step after that? What is the trend to either combat this or get past it?
Yeah, and that's a great question as well. I think right now we have really pushed teachers in the midst of No Child Left Behind to focus so much on testing, and the end result that there's been a strain in the relationships. So what I would like to see the next trend to take place, Kelly, would to be more focused on relationships, because we know that when those students have access to great teachers who actually care about them, our students do well. Yes, testing is important. Yes, knowing math and reading is important. However, those relationships are just as important. So we're hearing a lot of talk about the social and emotional needs of the students being addressed. And I think that's very, very important, because not only are those needs needing to be met for the students, they also need to be met for the educators who are serving the students as well. Because when those kids come in the building with issues, those issues become the issues of the teachers and support staff as well. So I think that's going to be one of the trends that we have to move to a place where we're taking care of the mental health and social needs of both the students and the teachers, if that makes sense.
All right, let's go to Michael. Michael, your question.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Watson. My question, and Kelly and Matt hit on a little bit, my question is dealing with critical race theory and this false attack on critical race theory, but especially during the month of February, which is African American History Month, Black History Month, because I'm seeing stories like out of Alabama and other places where Black History Month lessons are being attacked and saying, oh, they're teaching critical race theory. How do we move forward with this? Because this can become very discouraging to people who may want to take up the teaching profession. How do we move forward with this?
Absolutely. I think we cannot let our foot up off the gas. I think we have to continue to teach it. We have to be willing to stand up and address those individuals who have an issue with it, because there are a lot of things that are taught in school that have been controversial, and this shouldn't even be controversial. A matter of empowering young people, whether it be black and white across the board, they should know about this type of history. So I think what we cannot do is allow these political agendas to force our teachers to become afraid and stop teaching those things. And our teachers need the support of the outside communities. They need support of our other political figures who are supporting them in that. They need the support of our teachers. Of our parents, as well as our students, to let them know, hey, we want to know about that subject matter, and we're not backing down no matter what you're talking about.
All right, then. Well, look, we certainly appreciate it, Dr. Wilson Watson. If folks want to assist, want to help, how can they reach you?
Absolutely. They can contact me at tawatson.com. We're going to be hosting a town hall meeting here on February 23rd to talk more about this issue. We're going to be hearing from students, parents, educators, employers, because this is an issue that doesn't just simply isolate itself to teachers. There's a lot of folks who need to be involved in this, and we'd love to have people kind of go to my website, tawatson.com, and reach out to us and participate in this conversation so that we can support all teachers in being successful and doing the work that they need to do.
All right, then. We certainly appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Take care.